city of Calgary, the day the trade was announced that brought Ryan Walter and Rick Green to the Montreal Canadiens. And Ryan just said to Rick, you've just played the series of your life. Rick, you just scored the goal of your life. Congratulations. How does it feel? Cliche, but how does it feel?
Great, Dick. I tell you, I was so tight before the game, and I was scared about this one, but guys came through with a big effort, and I was happy to see us get that win.
Ryan, it's a long way from the first I interviewed you when you were a top draft choice with Washington. You struggled through those years. This makes it all worthwhile, I'm sure.
It does, Dick. I have to thank the Lord. I have to do that, and I have to thank our wives. You know, they've been sitting at home for almost 2 months now for some of these guys, sitting there, nothing to do, but sort of nervous, and I just really thank them a lot.
With the broken ankle, you missed all of the playoffs of this series. I guess you kind of thought your season was over. It's great to make it back.
Fantastic. I didn't know what I could do to help, but I was going to do anything I could.
Rick, he helped a lot coming in. It gave him the fresh legs. Defense won it, Rick. That was the plan, obviously.
Well, it's been our key to success, I think, all along, Dick, and we've played very, very solid defensively, and when we can hold our game to 1 or 2 goals against, we're going to get our goals for, and guys showed it all through the playoffs, and that's what got us the cup.
Just finally, Ryan, you two fellas have been teammates all through pro. Have you ever seen this guy play better hockey?
He's played the series of his life. He's played the best games I've ever seen him play, and he's played them for I don't know, for about 2 months now. So he's my hero.
And you and I kid a lot about your goal scoring. We had another one to add to our collection, Rick. Congratulations, both fellas.
Thanks very much, Dick.
Rick Green and Ryan Walter. Here is Mats Naslund. Mats, let me ask you this. When you're in Sweden, is there anything to compare with this? I suppose only the World Championship.
Yeah, you're right. It's only the World Championship, but I guess this is covered by more journalists and people get more excited over here.
What about the coverage? Is there anybody from Sweden over here at this time, or are they getting the word back home?
Yeah, there's about 6-7 guys, and I'm just going to go on Swedish TV right after this, and it's pretty much covered in Sweden, too.
I don't know if you were keeping count, Mats, but tonight was your 100th game. You did not miss a game. You did not miss a shift all year. Is it safe to ask you, are you tired, or do you feel it now?
Well, I think we all deserve a good vacation. We're going to have a couple of weeks off before we're trying to get a shape again and ready for next season.
That's one final question. You're a pretty good analyst of what goes on out there. Could you feel this sort of thing coming over the last month or so?
Not really. I think when we beat Hartford, we look forward to New York. We know we had a chance against them, and when the series went long against St. Louis and Calgary, we know that was to our benefit. So we was pretty confident when this series starts. We know it was in better shape, and they said they wasn't tired, but that's saying too much, I guess.
Well, Mats, I tell you, a 100-point season, a record for assists left wingers. Congratulations. Take a rest. You deserve it.
Thank you very much.
I've just been told by Floyd Curry of the Canadiens the team might be getting home a little before 6:30 in the morning, so you'd better check back at the Dorval Airport. Back to the studio. Here again is Dave Hodge.
With the official announcement of the 3 stars of this game, the clinching game, Rick Green, Claude Lemieux, and Jamie McCowan. Well, when I think, fellas, of the 1986 Stanley Cup playoffs and Montreal's victory, the one thing that'll remain in my mind is the look on Brian Skrudland's face after he scored 9 seconds into overtime. Obviously the goal that turned this series in Montreal's direction.
I think it did, too. It was a big goal because Calgary almost stole a game on behalf of Mike Vernon's goaltending. But you look at that Montreal organization, and you see the players that played well for them in the playoffs. Lemieux had been in a Memorial Cup. Guys like Skrudland had won a Calder Cup in the American Hockey League. I think they're
and
just...
Patrick Waugh, too.
Patrick Waugh was there, too. And these are players that are being groomed the proper way. And then the leaders, quality leaders, I think Calgary had quality leaders, too, in Poplinski, McDonald, et cetera, Dougie Riseborough, how can you forget him? But Montreal are building an organization right now, very strong.
Well, again, that says for sending them down to the minors and learn how to play hockey instead of bringing guys in 18 years old and throwing them to the wolves. I believe in that, too. Send them down to the minors, learn how to play.
With all the talk of the players who were injured and the players who appeared in their first NHL game in the Stanley Cup final for Calgary and all of the rookies from Montreal, one can never forget how important depth is in winning this Stanley Cup championship, and the Canadiens proved it best. Live on CBC, this is Hockey Night in Canada.
Earlier this year in Montreal, I was involved in a TV feature, The Unknown Rookies and the Canadiens. We picked these two, 38 and 39. They're not unknown anymore. Mike Lawler, last year in Sherbrooke, American Hockey League Championship. You've worked your way up the ladder to another one. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, and couldn't have done it with this without this guy here.
That's right. I told Brian the other night he's got his name in the record book for a long time, probably 9 seconds. Brian, now the name's on the Stanley Cup. That's a little better.
Oh, well, you know, it's just a thrill. We worked hard for this, and like he said, you couldn't be with better guys. You know, it's just great.
All right, you two are this close to your first Stanley Cup before this game started. How'd you feel all day today?
A little nervous, couldn't sleep.
Same thing?
Same thing. I want to say hi to my parents, my family, my friends back in Saskatoon. Mike wants to say hi to everybody back on Fort Erie.
Mom, Dad, everybody, here I am!
Well, they're here for the first time. Congratulations, guys. This fella's here for the 6th time. Larry, six. I can remember in '73 in the Chicago Stadium when you got your first one. I don't think you and I figured you'd be in '86, and either one of us would still be around for number 6. Congratulations, Bert. How's it feel?
Well, great. I think this one holds as much as the first one. You know, it's been 7 long years since we went to a Stanley Cup before, and we went through a lot of funny situations this year. And, we had injuries, and we had different guys coming up and picking up the slack, and it's been a real Cinderella story all year, and we've really had to work very, very hard. Just goes straight in. Nothing comes easy.
The cards have fallen just right for you in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Yourself, you didn't miss much in the way of hockey this year. Everybody talked about the so-called comeback of Larry Robinson. A lot of people said he'd never been away. This has to be a very satisfying season for you, Larry, all around.
Well, no season's satisfying unless you have that big cup standing beside you, and this is certainly the icing on the cake.
I would have to think that as it rolled along, the feeling within the ranks sort of started to build positively. And the kids must have had a lot to do with it because they hadn't been here before. Maybe they didn't know enough to be nervous.
No, everybody was nervous. But you know what helped is that the kids that we had playing here, the so-called rookies, were involved in a real battle last year down in Sherbrooke in the Calder Cup. And I know I was there in the Calder Cup my first year, and I know the emotion that it takes and what it took. And I think it matured a lot of them much more than a lot of people think it did, and it really helped them in our series going to the Stanley Cup this year.
Well, having a Larry Robinson around with them helped them too. Larry, congratulations. Just another super year, right? Thank you very much. And here is, speaking of rookies, here is the coach, John Davidson. Jean Perron was talking about you winning a championship here in Calgary with Moncton, and here you are winning a championship. Congratulations. You're following a line of some pretty good fellas who are the Stanley Cup winning coaches in their rookie year, including Toe Blake. So congratulations. What did you tell the guys before the game tonight, and especially before the third period?
We talk about the work ethics, you know how far we can go with work, and guys wanted to do very well. Every time out, they had the game plan in their minds, and they stick to it. You know, we waited for the breaks. We got the goals. And when we needed good defense, we got it. So really, I got to give credit to all the players because they deserve that championship, that Stanley Cup.
John, your team won only 5 games in the last 16 in the regular season. What started the turnaround for you?
I think the fact that the youngsters and the veterans got mixed together, you know, they started to... that was a key point in that you go through hell. Sometimes you get out of it stronger, and that's what happened.
Their college coach and his Calgary players.
They played super hockey. They got down with injuries, but they never stopped working, and you know, they almost came back tonight. That proves that they're well coached, and those guys want to win.
Well, John, I know for you it's been a year of ups and downs, and it finishes as high up as anybody can go in hockey. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dick.
Jean Perron, the Stanley Cup winning coach in his first year in the National League. Here again, Dave Hodge.
Well, I suppose we should stop briefly and consider the future of this Montreal team. With all of these rookies and Jean Perron winning the Stanley Cup in his first try, this is a team that should get better.
Well, if you want my honest opinion, I think Edmonton next year has been taught a lesson. Looks like every 2 or 3 years they've got to be taught a lesson, and I think they've just borrowed it for a year. Those guys are home just killing themselves right now. Look out next year for Edmonton. And for all you people out there that have asked me why the Roy does this here with his head all the time, I talked to Lucien Debois, landlord, all the time, and he got in the habit. That's the thing. So all summer, don't come up and ask me why he did it.
John, it was great to see the Canadiens turn on the city of Montreal again, like we remember.
It was unbelievable. Just the good feeling, the good hockey feeling that was around the country. You know, when you look at Montreal and their rookies and how well they did, and Don, you'd like this, they're big. They're big guys, and they were tough to knock off the puck. They almost mauled Calgary at every turn whenever they could, and I think that made a big difference. The only smaller guy was Naslund, who played a lot. And he plays like a big guy.
I think that it's shifted now. Before there was guys at center ice doing pirouettes. You need big guys now The Quebec general manager said he's after big guys that put a little fear in guys. The big guys are back.
Well, Dick Irvin is with a big former player who has done a big job as the general manager of the Stanley Cup champions. Let's go to Dick with Serge Savard.
Back in the late 1970s, I was in this position a couple of times with Serge Savard, who was then playing with the Montreal Canadiens. Serge, you're in your third year as general manager. Congratulations on putting together the team that has won the Stanley Cup. Can you, at this moment, or is it too soon, compare your feeling in civvies or when you were in uniform?
Well, it's very different. You know, as a player, you're emotionally so high for a game, and you show your joys a lot more than the GM. But to me, it's a
Hang on, grab it. Hang on.
Thank you very much. No, it's different. You're building your drafts. You draft players. You're building a team. It's so different. You choose your own people, and you hire coaches. It's so different. But I'm very happy that with the group of youngsters we have, I think the veteran player, the guy like Gainey and Robinson and those guys, they're the guys that carry the team all year. They're the guys that give the leadership to those youngsters, and of course the young players like Patrick Roy did the job for us this year, and Jean had an outstanding season. I'm very happy for Jean as a coach because he's not going to last a year, and when he went through that period, he was very, very strong, and he kept working real hard. It never bothered him, so I'm very proud of him.
And he was always your coach all season.
He was always my coach. I think he'll be for many seasons to come.
Serge, again, congratulations on a great job, general manager of the Montreal Canadiens. Okay, Serge.
The Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC will continue in just a moment. This hockey season began with talk of a dynasty in Edmonton. It ended with a controversial cloud over Edmonton. It will be called a season of upsets, but when you come to think of it, the Montreal Canadiens really didn't upset anybody, beating Boston, Hartford, the New York Rangers, and the Calgary Flames to win the Stanley Cup. And under any circumstances, why should those of us who are familiar with the happenings of the National Hockey League ever be surprised that the Montreal Canadiens won a Stanley Cup? This, their 23rd championship. They claim an unofficial title in professional sports, most pro championships surpassing the New York Yankees with 22 Cup titles. We have been pleased at Hockey Night in Canada to bring you coverage of the 23rd, and we hope you have enjoyed everything about this season, including the climax tonight. Montreal wins again.
Live on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada. Brought to you by Molson salutes you, Canada. Esso, with over 3,000 locations across Canada to serve you better. And by Ford of Canada, where quality is more than a commitment.